Coming out of Evil Dead Rise, there was one thing that really stood out to me as a lesson to take out of this. And that's just to not give the goth kid the ox. They're just going to start playing like evil incantations from the Book of the Dead.
What will be, will be.
So Evil Dead Rise has been a movie that I've been excited for ever since it got announced in like 2019, I'm pretty sure it was. It is Evil Dead has been one of my favorite franchises in all of horror and in general at this point. I think it's a damn near flawless franchise at that, with the original trilogy, Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. I do think that the 2013 version gets a little too much hate, although it's trying something completely different, going full horror aside from the original trilogies. Very much still campiness, although very much a horror movie. And yeah, Evil Dead Rise. From the trailers, it looks like it's more in the veins of the 2013 uh, reboot, I guess. I'm not really entirely sure where that stands off the top of my head. But we have Evil Dead Rise, which is, I guess, is a continuation of the lore behind the Evil Dead franchise. Apparently, Lee Cronin, the writer and director of this, along with Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, have created a Bible of sorts for like all the Evil Dead stuff, and they have said that if Evil Dead Rise does well, it's not going to be 10 years in between installments. It's going to be like more like two or three, and I really hope that's the case. And believe it or not, this was originally supposed to go on HBO Max as an exclusive there. But because of audience testing, and it did really well in that area, Warner Brothers just decided to move this to theaters. And if I'm being honest, that was an incredible move because this is a fantastic movie. When it comes to the plot, I like the change from it usually being a cabin to like dilapidated uh, apartment complex that's falling apart. I think that's a great choice as a new setting for this kind of thing. It gives this like punk aesthetic to it, especially since one of our main characters works in the music industry and all that. So there's fun with like amps and like electrical shit that comes in later on, and I think that's a fun little character touch. And it's also a flip from the other movies now. It's not a bunch of friends and their romantic partners and all that to a family now. And since most of this movie is contained to this, not only like this apartment complex, but this apartment room, it gives much more of a motivation for these family members to stay and fight these things because these are members of their family that they could still be in there. And when it comes to these kind of movies, I feel like that's a good sense of motivation to keep them where the threat is and fight them. And that's an incredible choice from Lee Cronin. And if I have to be honest, one of the reasons why this works so well is because the acting in this is just fantastic from everyone. It's literally everyone, even the child actors. There's some of them was just like there's like teen actors and a child actress in this, and man, they go through a lot in this. I have their names written down because they do a fantastic job in this. The teen actors are Morgan Davies and Gabrielle Echols. They play Danny and Bridget in this, and they honestly get a lot to do in this, and I think they are both fantastic. Also, Nell Fisher as the littlest sibling, Cassie. She goes through the ringer, man. I, I'm glad she like Nell Fisher did an incredible job playing this character, and boy, she goes through hell in this. It was to the point where I was wondering that like, wow, I can't believe like whoever her guardians were like approved her to be on this movie because wow. Our two main characters are played by Lily Sullivan and Alyssa Sutherland. They're both sisters. Lily Sullivan plays Beth, the kid's aunt that's coming in off of a tour that she's working on, and Alyssa Sutherland plays Ellie, their parents. Man, I just gotta say right now, right off the top of the bat, Alyssa Sutherland was the best part of this movie. I think she she has the most to work with in this, playing the mother of these children, and I'm going to say this because in all the trailers, it's in the poster, it's everything. She is the one possessed for pretty much most of the movie, and there is a good amount of care put into the script on this of making us care about all these people. And I just feel like, especially with Alyssa Sutherland, both pre and post possession, Ellie was just fucking crazy in this. And I need to see Alyssa Sutherland in more things. I don't know who she is off the top of my head. I didn't get a chance to look up what else she's been in, but I need to see her in so many things right now. Same thing with Lily Sullivan. I thought she was really great as the defender of everyone in this little family. Of course, there is the violence and gore in this, because, it's an Evil Dead movie. It has a reputation, even with the more comedic ones. They're still pretty violent and more on the gory side, and Evil Dead Rise is no different. This is a rough one to watch, and it holds up that franchise reputation of this is a gross one. Granted, the grossest thing that I thought it was gonna be wasn't even in the trailer, because everyone was freaking out from the trailer about a cheese grater, and that cheese grater scene, granted, is not even the grossest thing in the movie. So just take of that what you will. And yeah, there were some concerns because I know a lot of people like Evil Dead, like the franchise as a whole, for its comedy. So that's why the 2013 film that didn't really have a massive appeal to the other films because it was different. There is still like really dark comedy in this, and it's honestly it's not abundant like an Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, but it is much darker and it works for this movie. It's not throughout the entire movie. It's not consistent throughout the movie, but when it's there, it's actually pretty funny. A lot of the tension in this is broken by a joke or a visual gag, or well, literally and figuratively, and it just worked for the movie, and it was really well done. So now I figured, just like, where should I put this in like ranking of the franchise? Because this is a must watch. I think this is a fantastic movie. Everyone essentially gave it their all, and now when it comes to the rest of the franchise, I feel like this is better than the 2013 version, and I don't know if this is going to be a hot take, but I think this is better than Evil Dead 2. Although I don't think it's better than the original Evil Dead and my personal favorite, Army of Darkness. That might be a hot take as well. But this is like right in the middle of those four. So this is like number 3 on the list. And honestly, in a franchise that has only had 5 movies and a show that admittedly I have not gotten to just yet, that's pretty damn good. So yeah, Evil Dead Rise is pretty fantastic. It's a breath of fresh air for, I guess, mainstream horror. I guess I never really realized how mainstream Evil Dead was, since it was gone from the limelight, at least theatrically, for a while. But no, this is definitely a must-watch if you're a fan of horror at all. Also, if you can get through the gore as well, because that's going to turn a lot of people off from this. But this is pretty entertaining and honestly one of my favorite mainstream horror movies in years. Evil Dead Rise is an easy 9 out of 10 for me. I think this is pretty fantastic. Now's the time for me to ask you this. What is your favorite Evil Dead movie? I feel like, honestly, any of them could work as a favorite now at this point, and especially since, like, Evil Dead Rise worked so well, I think, even without Ash, because Bruce Campbell was involved as a producer on this movie along with Sam Raimi, but he's technically not in this movie. Not spoiling anything else, but Ash is not in this movie. And Evil Dead Rise is proof that maybe this franchise could work without them. And that's a pretty wild thought. So, let me know what you think of Evil Dead Rise if you've seen it. Let me know what your favorite Evil Dead movie is. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video, which is coming very soon. See ya.